going to cut across to some big news that we're tracking here. Congress workers now stop trains in Delhi. Massive face-off in Delhi over Sonia Gandhi's grilling as the Congress workers now, resulting in acts of violence. This is nothing but absolute violence where they try to disrupt law, try to stop trains in Delhi. This is their pitch and their pledge to Sonia Gandhi. Very unfortunate that this is what they believe is Satyagraha. Congress workers there stopping trains in Delhi. A massive face-off in Delhi over Sonia Gandhi's grilling as the Congress intensifies its stir. It turns violent in parts of Bengaluru. In Delhi, we're seeing trains being blocked, vehicles burnt, torched in Bengaluru by Congress workers, and in Delhi, Congress workers there sitting in dharna at the railway station on the tracks, blocking trains. Remember, we've said this time and again, it's ultimately the common man who faces the brunt. They're the ones who really are affected with this kind of protest lodge, disrupting traffic, halting regular movement, and really hampering normal life. This is exactly what the Congress is doing, and the cause is what is surprising. They've chosen ED summons to Sonia Gandhi over corruption allegations as their cause to unite in such a manner where they're carrying out arson, violence, vandalism, disrupting public life. This is the Congress's way of showing strength and support to Sonia Gandhi. One can only remember the last time that the Congress party came in such large numbers for a people's cause. We've never seen them come with so much enthusiasm and strength to protest on a people's cause, on a common man's cause. But here, over ED summons to Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, over corruption allegations which the Enforcement Directorate is probing into. It's just about investigation has begun. ED is just about started to probe the matter. But here the Congress indulges in violence and arson, condemning this as vendetta politics. Even if they have grouse and suspicion over the ED's intentions, is this the way to protest? Is this how one pledges protest in support of their leader? Disrupting normal life, troubling the common man, vandalizing public property, crores of rupees that now will be under loss owing to public property being burnt and literally disrupting public transport there. One can imagine the kind of losses that the railways will be going through. We saw similar scenes even when Rahul Gandhi was summoned, where trains were blocked, huge losses to the railways. We're looking at a dent to the state exchequer. But that is of no concern to the Congress and their workers who are lodging this massive protest, irrespective of what goes wrong and the losses that's incurred owing to this kind of act. They don't care what the common man goes through in the country due to their protest. And we say it time and again, even if they have grouse and are upset with the fact that the ED is summoning a frail and unwell Sonia Gandhi, they're trying to question her while she's been receiving treatment over the last few years. Even if they're upset, even if they feel this is vendetta politics and that this must be stopped, even if they want to attack the BJP, is this the way that a principal opposition party should display their anger? The Congress party, which has really established the meaning of Satyagraha decades ago, has today turned around the meaning of Satyagraha altogether. This is what their understanding of Satyagraha is. Kumar Kunal joining us for more on that. Kumar, railways now infiltrated by Congress workers. They're sitting in dharna on the railway tracks, where Congress workers holding placards, stopping trains there, resulting in huge losses to the railways. We saw that happening last month with Rahul Gandhi's summons, this time again over Sonia Gandhi. Is there a stop to this? How did they not realize that this is resulting in enough and more grievances for the common man? It's no one else who will be affected here. The BJP couldn't care less at this point with this kind of protest. It's basically the common man who bears the brunt.
And affected by prevalence of the train and this
Kumar Kunal, Kumar, your audio seems to be patchy. We'll try and patch you back on the line. But here are visuals coming in from Delhi, where Congress workers, mostly the youth Congress workers is what we believe, who are all assembled at the railway station. They're stopping trains, climbing on those trains there to lodge their protest, which they call as Satyagraha. This is the second time that we're seeing similar scenes after what happened with Rahul Gandhi and the summons that he received by the Enforcement Directorate. He was grilled for over 20 odd hours on multiple days, and this kind of protest we saw on all those days that he appeared before the Enforcement Directorate's office. Now similarly, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi's mother and the Congress chief, she's now at the Enforcement Directorate's office. It's been close to 2 hours now that she's been at the federal agency's office, being grilled by 5 Enforcement Directorate officials. And while that happens on one hand, parallelly we're seeing the Congress throwing their might behind the Gandhi family. And how? Kumar Kunal joining us for more on that. Kumar, a quick word on what we see here of these protests where trains are being blocked, vehicles being burnt, we're seeing traffic being disrupted. The normal life of a common man has been completely hampered.
Exactly, and that's the real problem. Congress is protesting, and they were claiming that they are doing satyagraha all over the country. But now it is hitting the normal life, the common men who are traveling from train and who are traveling through roads. Normal life are being disrupted, and what we are witnessing that even at Shivaji Bridge station of Delhi, the train has been stopped by youth Congress workers, and now they are sitting on the tracks. They are stopping the train on the track. So actually, all these things didn't happen when Rahul Gandhi was being questioned by ED, although a massive protest took place at that time also. But such a disruption has not happened. Now it is seemingly Congress has strategized that they will be more aggressive this time. A different organization within the Congress have been given different the kind of responsibilities. They are now coming out on roads. So what we have witnessed today, that there was not a massive protest around AICC or Congress office, which was the scenario during the Rahul Gandhi, when Rahul Gandhi was questioned. This time, this is a more widespread kind of protest happening all across the country. Even in Delhi, several protests are happening at different places by different wings of Congress. So this is actually disturbing the normal life of the common man. Even New Delhi, the area was out of bounds for long today due to the protests. Now even the trains are being disrupted. So this is a serious thing, as the Sonia Gandhi questioning is going on at ED headquarters in Delhi. Such pictures are coming from all across the country.
These pictures are so telling. While we see the senior Congress leaders are carrying out a rather peaceful march to the ED office, and they were also restricted. Of course, the ED office is sacred. You can't have protests outside, but the senior Congress leaders largely carried out a peaceful protest. But we're seeing the youth Congress workers taking the aggressive approach. Is this part of your strategy? Would you be able to tell us, Kumar, is this part of the Youth Congress's strategy to take on this cause more aggressively and violently so that attention is showered on them?
Exactly. What I found today, that there was not much crowd at Congress headquarters, which was the scenario when Rahul Gandhi was questioned. Most of the wings, be it women Congress or the youth Congress, all the Congress wing leaders were present at the Congress headquarters. But this time they have strategized in such a way that this protest will be more widespread, more aggressive.